So we've all heard it a million times. Why isn't there an MMORPG where I can just do whatever I want? The truth is, every player has their own vision of the perfect game, which isn't necessarily in line with what other people want. And sandbox games require a careful mix of features and balance to create a game world that's fun for a wide audience. Topia Online is a sandbox MMORPG with unparalleled freedom, and our goal from the get-go was to create a game where the players decided how the world would grow and evolve. And it's a really strange feeling to develop a game that isn't based on what we want as developers. In order to ensure that players decide how the game works, we decided to design a tool set that both the developers and the players use side by side. In this video, I'm going to talk about the core features in Topia Online and what sets it apart from other builder and sandbox games. I'll start by saying that we've decided to really go outside the box and take a huge number of risks that major companies would absolutely avoid. And we felt that in order to create a sandbox experience, we have to take a stance on realism, which kind of models the real world. And like I said, every player has their own vision of what a sandbox game is, so the only thing we can do is remove many of the artificial limits that are in traditional MMORPGs. Now you may want to brace yourself, because as I list off these 7 major points that we've established for the game, many players are visualizing these with traditional MMORPGs in mind. So the features are no developer created NPCs or quests, all creatures in the game are controlled by players, all player characters are always logged in, unrestricted PvP, no game enforced safe zones, permadeath, and then tools for players to extend and manage the game and these features. When the game first launches, it'll be an empty world with no NPCs or quests. There's going to be resources and wildlife, and the players will be required to fill the world with their own characters and agendas. All creatures in the game are controlled by players, and that includes all manner of monsters, and we've developed a core set of creatures which add very unique styles of gameplay. However, there's nothing in the game that forces you to play a creature in a specific way. All characters are always logged in, so when you're done playing, your characters are still in the world performing duties, sleeping, mining, crafting, running shops, and this is a core feature that we believe will properly simulate a persistent sandbox world. Unrestricted PvP is a provision which allows players to settle disputes and disagreements, and we've decided to allow players to govern their own laws as they see fit. Additionally, since players control all the creatures in the world, including monsters, PvP is a must. We as developers are not instituting any of our own rules in the game, and that's why it's up to the players to define their own safe areas and defend them accordingly. Permadeath is a controversial but mandatory feature in a sandbox game like this, because without permadeath there's no real consequence for players' actions. And we found that once permadeath is introduced, we've seen that players are more careful with their decisions and they value their relationships with other players. Lastly, our development team is dedicated to providing all the tools necessary to players so that they can enforce their own laws and create thriving ecologies. And since many players are going to disagree with the gameplay elements we've chosen, the toolset's going to allow you to create your own custom game worlds, sandboxes, completely separate from Topia Online. So what type of tools are we providing to players in Topia Online? Well, for one, the interface editor is going to allow players to create their own custom interfaces. And that means players will be able to build their own auction houses, guild management systems, chat panels, shop interfaces, and it's really limitless to what you can do in that regard. The script editor in Topia Online lets players create their own custom behaviors for their creatures or hirelings, and you can also script your own spells, traps, potions, magical items, or machines. And the power that's accessible through the scripting engine is unlike any other game we've seen. Additionally, our development team has created hundreds of scripts that any player can use as an example. In fact, the entire game server code can be viewed by any player. So what if you don't have any scripting experience or you just don't want to use these tools? Well, the script marketplace is a feature that we've developed that allow ourselves and the community to share their creation. So if someone develops a spell with an interesting behavior, they can share it or sell it to you through the marketplace. Our development team is excited to launch Topia within the next couple of months, so our hope is that we'll get the funding and critical mass from the community to make the game possible. And we want you to get into the beta by Christmas. So if you're able to donate, you'll be able to enjoy the game for, a couple months before release. And we've already spent a year developing the prototype. We've sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into development costs, art assets, sound, hardware, testing, and we need the funds to complete the game engine, contract the rest of the art and sound, and then deploy the server to a cloud hosting solution. If this sounds like the sandbox game for you, then we urge you to check out the website at www.topiaonline.com. Experiment with the playable single-player sandbox and talk with us on the forum. We have several additional videos that we'll be posting in this Kickstarter, so be sure to check back each day for status updates, and we can't wait to see you all in game.